So just doing all the edge highlighting on the sort of grey and blacks parts of it. So I've done all those. So it's just a mixture of what we sprayed onto the black to start with. So it's dark blue grey from Model Colour Vallejo, and then maybe almost 50 of blue grey pale, just to bring it up a light. So I'm just hitting the edges. So it may seem weird in a minute, but I'm winging this really. I'm just using my eye for colours and hoping that I'll make it work. So this edging of the highlighting, it's all going to get knocked back anyway. I'm going to start doing the weathering and the rusting and the washes and everything else that's going to come and follow along with it. So this has got lots of panels to hit the edges. Now I'm going to hit it with a varnish. It's got a gloss varnish that it really looks a bit shiny. And my mucky sticky hands, and this heat, some of the paint, the black and that was coming off on, because there's so many little nodules of bulbs and that on it, that it was coming off on my finger. So I whacked it with that. Going to highlight the edges, going to gloss varnish it just to seal that, and then start going through the process of the washes. And what I'm going to do is, when the gloss varnish is on there, I'm going to tape off some of the odd panel, and I'm going to go through a process of sort of a darky rusty with the black and splodges and different patches in the colouring, and then I'm going to use I'm going to use chipping fluid, put over a colour on top of that, and then not really watch what I'm doing, so I'm not getting very good on the edges here. And use the chipping, because obviously this has got to be all worn and battered. Just trying to get in. This is actually probably the hardest shoulder pad to paint, to edge highlight. It doesn't have to be too good at this stage, because this is all going to be washed in and rusted in. There's going to be loads of things going over, but it's just all these layers of effect that will build up to a better finish, because there will be some edges that will show, and if you haven't done the edge highlighting, it will look too flat as a paint job. So just going to get the edges of some of these holes. They're either bullet holes or where a screw has fallen out. I think they're more like where a screw's fallen out, to be fair. Or it's been drilled to put a screw in and then never got around to putting one in. Like that, just hitting the edges. So that's all that part done, so we'll move on to the next part. Okay, so excuse me, I've been practicing my rusting, seeing how I want it to go. I've tried a few things now. I had a bit of a disaster, so this isn't finished in the rust, but I've got up to this part so far. This is just kind of like a little test corner I was doing it on. So what I did with this one is I put dry rust into my airbrush, and it's underneath there, but you can't really see it so much, but it's the layers of effect. I had a bit of a disaster though. Didn't realise this was an effect, just didn't read it, and it clogged my airbrush up so I've had to add it in the sonic cleaner and loads of fluid, cleaning fluid overnight. It's just basically jammed it up. Just in front of the trigger there's the hole before you get to the cup, and it was just solid, it's like clay. I've still got some on the desk. It's like a clay. I don't know if you can see, it's just fallen off my finger. It's like a clay. Now it's basically, there's a Games Workshop effects thing which you put down and then you dry brush over their rust. I think the Game Shop one might be better. This one doesn't seem to have much of like that gritty stuff in it. The Games Workshop one absolutely destroy your brushes. This one's very subtle, so there's a tiniest little bit of this like clayey grit, which was the shoe, which I put down, and you probably won't see it, but there's a slight texture underneath there. It's very subtle, and then I dry brushed over with this really bright rust effect, which is similar to the Games Workshop one I just showed you there. I did try and some of the wash in. I've just been doing different ways to find out how I'm going to do it. It's basically this rust wash. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some now. Actually, the rust wash. Try it. I've already put some on, but I'm going to try it again at this stage. Is it still wet? And that's the effect stuff on that. But this rust wash, you can see it actually leaves a really nice kind of little rust effect there. It's pretty cool. I'm just using the bottom of this base. I don't normally use the bottom of the base, but it's just there. I couldn't make room at the moment for my wet palette, so just going to get a bit of the wash in, and I'm just going to get it down into the corners, let it capillary out a bit up here. So I put it in, it'll just run along a little bit. Just get it down along this groove where the two plates part, and just run it down into that corner. I might do it all the way along that little line there, just down this little crack streaked bit. And then just get some of that off. Just going to streak that down because there's like a dent in the armour there. Just streak that down there like that. So we'll let that dry. Yeah, that's not bad. I was thinking of doing these teeth on the end white, because I'm going to do this one that I've taped off. We're going to have a crack at a few of the different rusts I've got. This is the one that's going to have the white hex pattern on it, which I'm going to do. This one though is not, so I might do the teeth white. This shoulder pad is the gun one, which is going to be used quite often with this one. Do I want them both hexed? I might just do the spikes on that one a bit white as well. Okay, it's just been splotched on. His teeth's going to be white on the front armoured plate that I've not glued on yet. I've done a bit more highlighting. I went a bit higher because this is all going to be knocked back. This blue, like this one's starting to be knocked back. This kind of shading, low highlighting, should I say, for the black. This what did we use again? We used dark blue grey rather than just a grey, just for a slightly different tone to it. And like I said, I did say it's going to be knocked back because the rust effect's going to cover a lot of it. You're going to have just a patch where the light's hitting. But that's drying quite nice, that wash. I'm just going to just feather the edges a little bit so it's not got this line. It's cleared out, so I don't want this to have a bit of a rough line. You get my finger in, you always get, finger's a good tool just to rub things in. Probably not the most correct tool if you're trying to look professional. So I can't remember the previous questions. I haven't put up on videos. I've been doing a ton of videos. Let's get some streaks down here. Done a ton of videos, but I haven't got them all up yet. I'm trying to work out this program using this Cyber. What is it called again? CyberLink Power Director 14. So I've got one video up there at the moment. I've made like an introductory clip. I've got to put some music over that, or else it's just going to be just a plain clip. My videos are probably too long, but I've explained that in previous ones. There's a nice little bit of streak come out there. Just there, a couple of little streaks. I'm using this wash now as like a rust streak. Now I've got lots of different rusts. I actually got a rust streak for Model Mates. Let's get that out. So I've got this. I absolutely love this stuff. This weathering liquid, Rust Red weathering liquid. I've got the Games Workshop effect, where it puts down that grit, and then obviously you've got that. I've got that, which is equivalent to kind of the Games Workshop grit rust thing, but that's not really been dug out. I've probably got some more paints, to be fair. I've got these paints. I've got that one I showed you, that just a really bright, beautiful orange rust for that nice rust. I've got the a Model Air rust, which is kind of reddy browny, which I haven't used yet. I've got this Panzer Aces dark rust, which is quite nice, and I've got this Panzer Aces light rust. I've probably got a few more different rust ones. Excuse me. Oh dear, I'm woken up a bit bunged up. I don't think I've got a cold or anything coming. It's just I had the fan on me all night, so I'm sounding a bit rough. Do apologise. Yeah, I've got that rust. I've probably got some other ones as well. I haven't dug out through all my paints because I'm still clearing and sorting my desk out. I've got holiday starts next week. I'm going away, possibly going away or not. I don't know now. I don't know what's happening. I'm probably going to stay here. Shake that paint up. I've got a rack I bought and it lies all the paints flat instead of stood up, and that's what happens. Paint separates from the medium and it's a pain in the ass. What's that there? Sepia ink. I'll be using that for rust. I've got like a, where is it? Is it here? I've got like a rust I bought and it's got metallic chips in it. Is this it? Yeah, this one. I used it once. I probably didn't use it like that, maybe how I should. I didn't like the effect that came out. It was quite a glittery, rusty kind of. See, I looked through a couple of paints and I found another rust. There's probably some more somewhere. But I quite like that so far. But what I'm going to try and do, because I didn't do it on this, is I'm going to use, where is it? I'm going to use these ones that I just showed you just now, the Model Air rust, the light Panzer, dark Panzer, starting with the dark. Probably go and try and out see what this is like on it, and then light rust, and then use some of the other effects. So if we start that off now, I'm going to do it on this panelled off part I've done. So I've got one really rusted panel on there, so I've taped it all off. I don't want to make sure I'm not going to go in behind. Oh, excuse me, dear. Right, so hopefully my brush is okay now, my airbrush. Give this a good shake. So this is the Panzer Aces dark rust. Get a bit too much water in there. Okay. Here, I've not got the finger pulled back and it's just getting stuck, so it's still not right in there. It's got the needle stuck back, so the air's still coming out. You live and learn. Something you normally do is buy new paints, and then sometimes you do, but very rarely look up how to use them on like YouTube or something. You might have found out that you might not want to put them in the airbrush. Got a dirty lid here. I'm just going to get a bit of tissue to clean that. Got a bit of caked on primer. So this model's all still looking very black at the moment, so now we're going to start. I've got a lot of highlighting off the metallics, and what I use for highlighting the gun grey that we put down is I always use edge highlighting of chrome. Really knocks it up. Excuse me, but I'm going to ink it all first and then highlight probably. Sometimes I highlight and then ink. Actually, because I'm going to go with so much rust, I might actually do highlight and then ink, because then I'm going to go and spraying with rust effects all on the metals and stuff. So yeah, right. Still hair coming out even though I haven't got anything pressed. Spitting as well, so the end's not quite clean. This is not what we want for optimum paint, so let's just get some of this down. No, I'm just going to do a bit of a random, so I'm not going to completely cover it like a base coat. Just around where things meet there. Some down in this corner. Not really even have to pull back because it's already hardly having to pull back. So that's that bit so far. Leaving some of it. That's actually a really nice base for rust. I really like that. I would have done that on the other bit, but I was just testing out some of the new stuff I got. Yes, to a bit of a catastrophic consequence to my airbrush, but I think we can pull our airbrush back. I've also put, once I found out it was a bit clayey, I've just put it just straight down as a first layer. But actually I wouldn't do that now. I'm going to just go over that with this. Just very slowly, so it doesn't sludge out and go everywhere. It's very more air than paint. A lot more air than paint at the minute. Hardly bring anything out. Actually, just going over that texture is not too bad. There's hardly any texture to it. That Vallejo effects. And come down onto the bottom strap there. Really nice. Excuse me sniffing like this, probably sounds horrendous. I really do apologise. I'll get a cup of tea or coffee in a minute and I'll start clearing. Clearing out a bit. Let's just try it on just black, then up here. I want this thing really rusted up, really old. Random patches along there. This should have been metallic up really, actually, thinking about it. So yeah, kind of cheated and skipped a thing there. I could still paint in metallic. I'll do that quickly with a brush rather than the airbrush. I don't have to clear it out and then redo it. Where's my gunmetal? Oh my god, I'm sorry. I'm trying to edit out my sniffs if I can. Let's get that in just quickly. Get the nuts and bolts. There's a bit here. Probably will have to spray in underneath there, but just for this bit we'll just... I need to buy some more of this gunmetal. It's quite a highly used paint. So I'll just get in there and do that strap as well. And then we'll throw some air on it in a minute, and that'll dry it, to make sure it's all dried out. Should ink it really. So we're kind of rushing and skipping a few things, but this one is done, so that's okay. We'll probably stop painting this one and just go back over onto the other one. I was just trying to use up some of this dark rust, but I've jumped the gun. Now these spikes I'm not sure what to do. Some have already started to get rusted up. I might just actually just paint them metallic quickly. I might paint this stripe here metallic. And then I can rust them up. I've already got some rust effects down there which look quite nice though. I can redo them. This is just like a trial and error. I've not really looked up on YouTube too much about rust, or really hardly anything, virtually nothing. I did start watching one and it was a bit of a painful one to watch. Probably as painful as this. So I thought I'd just trial and error it like I do most things. Usually works out. Can usually be rectified if it doesn't turn out right. So we're just metallicing up that quickly. Now I've got some nice rust effects down on that bottom bar bit. I might be able to get away with not. Let's just do it. So I tested the orange Vallejo, that bright orange for the rust. Actually, I'm going to do the bar, and then we'll go and do the rust again on that bit. Okay, and the back bar as well. Okay, so this one, let's get back to where we need to be. Let's just not use up all that dark rust. I probably made too much. Sometimes I pour it back into the... There's hardly any much there. So into the airbrush cleaning pot. A bit of water just to clear it out. Thinking of saving up and investing into a Bambi air compressor, silent runner. I've just got the one I very first had. An old made in China job. Cheapest chips does the job. I did went through a period of maybe 5-6 months where I slowed down what I was doing, and it kind of started to seize up, and I thought maybe it's broken, but a few runs and it's back firing off again. So the airbrushes that come with it are rubbish, although I see It looks like, I might be wrong, a really awesome painter studio called Awaken Realms, if they're still around, which I assume they are. They oh my god, it looks like they use a lot of the cheap brushes. He's obviously a very skilled artist. Right, so I'm going to try and see what this looks like now with just this rust. See how this comes out. Put a bit of water in, which is just bubbling back because there's obviously blockage in there. Okay, that's not good. That's not good. Just empty this bit of water out. Get this end off. Still leaking air out, but we shall persevere and we'll have another clean later. If it starts becoming too much of a problem, where's my cleaning tool? I've got this cleaning tool off eBay, a couple of quid. Comes with like some cleaning tube things which are okay, but this is great, this little thing for cleaning out any dried up bit in the tip. Let's see if it's because of this it was spinning back, if there's anything in here. It feels clean, just worrying. In there. So it might be around where the needle is. Get that needle back out. Airbrush maintenance is very important. Very important. Is there anything there? No, doesn't seem to be. Take this pot off. Okay, I didn't really see anything come out when I was trying to clean that then, but we shall try again. Try with just a bit of water first. This is the brush, airbrush I use. I'm going to do a little video. I thought maybe if like my first airbrush is through to what I'm using now. It's the harder. Does it Steiner and Harder and Steinbeck or something like that? Infinity CR Plus. Absolutely amazing airbrush. That's weird, it's not even sticking now. It is now, once the fluid's in. But it's not really spitting, so let's try and see what this rust comes out like. This just looks like a normal brown, so I've got high hopes for this, but let's see. It's going to hit in, leaving in the middle of that dark rust we've done. It's okay. I think it's okay, just keep building it up from there. So then we're going to go from there to the light rust. So let's just empty that out. I was going to cover this whole panel and have this whole panel as a rusty panel, so this bottom corner that's still not been touched, I might do a lot more of the effect liquid stuff and do a lot of dry brushing over that part and have that corner very light rust orange. Some clear clear out some of the water. Got too much paint in there. Yeah, a bit more water. Just using water. That's what I tend to normally use. I do have like airbrush thinner and stuff like that. Sometimes use it. It's not always necessary. H2O is the way forward. Clear it out. So this is a brighter. That's a brighter orange rust. I'm going to knock it back with some rust wash. So I'm just going to cover the whole thing with rust wash. Try that and see if that works. Very gently, because I don't want to scrape off anything done underneath there. Actually, just rushing it right over is not too bad, but we're still going to keep working from there. Get some air on that. Some of the paint's coming out. Probably going to pour the paint back into this light rust. Waste not, want not, and all that. It's not mixed in with any other paint, just water and paint, so that's fine. Be careful doing that, because if you do that too often in one pot, and then you keep adding water, when you tip it into your paintbrush and keep adding water, you're going to have very thin. Just throw a bit of water so it doesn't dry out. So now what I'm going to do is use the old faithful Model Mate Rusty Red. Get that a bit from all over. You can see the colour of that. Just like rusty water. If you thin it really thin, it's quite yellowy, like a yellowy ink, dark yellowy ink really. It's a bit rough there and it's taken off some of the paint underneath. I'm just going to use this as a wash over to see if that works. Get a bit of water, pipette water on there. It's gone in underneath the masking, but that's okay. We'll work that out when we get there. I might be better off putting on an ink, because this is just scraped off a little bit at the top of the paint underneath. Just feathering it down to the bottom. So slowly bringing that out. Wait for that to dry. I might add a bit more actually. Getting a bit of an irregular pattern to it now. So we'll leave that to dry. Wash my brush. And then what we should do is throw a bit of air on that from a distance. So you bring it in. I want to work reasonably fast because I've got a load of this inky water going in underneath the masking onto the other stuff we've got there, which we can work with. So now when you dry this out, you start seeing how you got this kind of dark rust look panel so far. It's a very dark iron rust plate at the moment. And then what we're going to do, as that's dry, is we're going to hit it with a bit of that effect. Where has it gone? This one, rust effect. Not all over, just around the edges, around some of the bolts. Around the edges of this extra panel that they've strapped on. Because that's where we're going to not airbrush, we're going to dry brush off the bright orange again. So we'll let that, so it's just around the strap that's going around the middle and slightly down one of the sides. So we shall get a bit of air on that slowly. Almost dry, but you can see how it's like the effects slow layer up. That Models Mate going over, complete coverage over, just really makes it look like an old rusty panel. It's great stuff. Model Mates do some really good products. I want to get more. I'd like to get lots more of different stuff. I've been looking at AK Interactive stuff for the base. I've got an idea for the basing, guys. See what you think. Most of my Space Marine armies and stuff are like an urban terrain, because we're going to get urban kind of mats. We're going to get, which I haven't. I've kind of got an industrial mat if you've seen some of my other videos, but I will get an urban one. So that's that. And we're going to get. I was ending up maybe at some point getting the Forge World drain tiles, the big terrain tiles, which are very urban, like a destroyed complex, manufactorium or whatever it is, you know, kind of streets and stuff. But for my orcs, I'm thinking of going desert bases. I've been looking at some great AK Interactive products I'd like to do a review on. Because obviously, like, if you've seen one of my other original videos, the paints that I bought in an order, I bought the heavy gold brown, leather brown, and desert yellow. And I've got other desert sandy colours as well already. That was basically then for their shirts and their bases and stuff. So desert. So I'm just going to dry brush this. It's hitting the top of the bolts, which is quite nice. There's a bit of fluid there. You don't want fluid because this is a dry brush. I think that's come back up from underneath the tape. We'll get this done quick and get this tape off. It's pulling out the fluid from underneath. Let's go this way. Bit of tissue. Try not to. I did use my finger just now and took a bit of my effects that I've just all done. Right. Just very lightly, just hitting it at the minute. Just very lightly. Like that. So that's the rusty panel so far. It'll really jump out when we take the tape off, but I'm not going to do that just yet. What I'm also now going to do is use this as a bit of a streak effect. The Models Mates one. And I'm just going to get a little bit less on the brush. I'm just going to run that from the holes straight down. Like that. And then a bit of a streak, just run it along the bottom there like that, and then just streak off a little bit. That bolt there. Just around this bolt. That. And just streak that down a bit. So we've got a bit, I don't know if that'll come out in the video so well, but you can see streak marks on there. So I'm quite happy with how that looks. I don't think I'll take it any further for now. So we used most of our, well if not all of the ones that we had out for the rust, and take that off and just get the tissue. I'm always putting a brush in my mouth sideways like a knife, like a parrot. Probably not the best when you're trying to be clear so you can hear me, but a bit of tissue around just to take off some of that. And that's a rusty panel. Now you can see how it pops out from the rest there. I think that come out quite good. That's alright. So what I will do now is probably rust up the two straps that are on it. So out this airbrush. It's causing me all sorts of problems. Airbrush cleaner for it. Airbrush maintenance is vital. It's not a cheap piece of kit. But obviously I didn't know that effects was going to destroy my airbrush. Hopefully temporarily destroyed it. brutal, absolutely brutal. It came out so nice to start with, and I put it to the side for like 3 minutes, my airbrush, and it just clogged up like cement. Okay, now got some highlighted scratches on there, so I'm going to probably hit that and knock everything over with a silver. What we got here? That's wash. Got this aluminium, which is a bit more of an airbrushy paint, really. So airbrush colours, but it's just the one that's just there, and it's going to be bright. I could use the chrome, but I'm just going to use this and see how that works. Just one dollop, and we'll get some aluminium along those scratches. Clean my brush off a bit more. Desk needs a... What sometimes I do with these airbrush cleaners is I'd get the paint on it and I just rest it on a bit of tissue, and it sucks out some of the fluid and just leaves more of the pigment on there. Now, this is not probably the best brush. This is my battered old what's it called brush? Winsor & Newton. More of my stir stick now, really. And come over those scratches, and then we're going to rust those out as well, so that's why I just quickly do the silver, so when I've got all my other rust paints out I can use them. A big gash there, and a little bit there, a bit there. So I did do other videos, one of my book reviews and stuff, and I was mentioning about an army to start. Now orcs, I've got most of the models for it. There's only a few little things I can collect over time. Not much more I could get, I don't think, at the moment. But I just watched a video by, I think it's Black Toad or someone, and he's starting up. I'll do a bit of edge highlighting here while I just got this on the paintbrush. He's starting up a Renegade and Heretics army, one of the ones that I was thinking of, like really wanting to do. I put a little post on there saying, yeah, I'm just totally torn between them with like a Nurgle detachment and different things, and the Death Corps, and then working in something to go with them, maybe the Legio Custodes on the side. For like apocalypse type games, probably just use the Death Corps for normal 40k games, and then I could bring the knights and whatnot in, but I could also do that with not the Legio Custodes, but on the other side I could do things with the heretics. I can bring in knights and things with that as well. Sure what to do. I have bought a Death Corps to Krieg the Command unit, which I was going to paint up and sell, but do I keep it? Going Forge World on the 1st of August. Not made a decision of what I'm going to buy when I go there. I had a knight, is it knight? It begins with an A. Atropus or something? I can't remember the blooming name. I was thinking of rebuying one of them. I was going to get the Mecha Dread, so I've got the other one to go with this, with the Shunter Arm and another Ripper Claw. I was thinking of getting the Siege Claw because I've got the Siege Drill because I've got the Siege Claw from my Leviathan, so then I've got all the weapons for it. Oh yeah, I had another game. Now I know this is a really long video, but I had another game, Space Marines, trying out some units things against Astra Militarum, and it was really close actually. We got to turn 4. I think if it went on it could have swung either way. I was winning by only by one victory point at that turn. I had my Leviathan, which was unscathed. It was just an absolute beast. It took so many shots, incoming shots, and saved. I rolled 2s, well, 2+ saves and my invulnerables every time necessary. Absolute beast. Didn't get it into some of the high level targets, but it was just carving through the troops, because that's the only things I could really. Because 18-inch, I had the Grav Flux and the Siege Claw with the melter gun inside and 2 heavy flamers on its chest. And I was just, with that combination, I was just carving through the troop choices, just decimating them. I couldn't get it into any of the high level stuff. They stayed a bit evasive. But that was definitely the MVP of that fight. A bit highlighting on the bolts and whatnot inside here. Okay, so now this panel here I kind of wanted to rust up as well. I'm thinking this shoulder's going to have the check over it anyway, so I'll gloss varnish it to seal this in and then patch on like it's been painted on by some Gretchen. There's going to be a lot of airbrush going noise, refilling my tank because this is leaking the air. So I was hoping some of these longer videos would be kind of something just playing in the background for people listening to me waffle on. Get some more tissue. It's getting a bit messy, this desk now. It's how I generally clean my brushes. Probably not the most efficient way. Alright, so I'm definitely going to break it up by doing those 2 straps down the sides. Quite a long strap there, bracing strap, and a shorter bracing strap down here. So let's mix this up whilst it's still leaking air. So we're going back to the more or less the sequence what we have. We can mix it up the sequence, you don't have to do it identical each time. But basically obviously you still with rust want to go from dark to light. If you hit off around the edges it doesn't matter so much because that would be just a bit of rust on them. I actually might throw a bit of rust. I might purposely go over little bits so the rust is spread onto a couple of the little side bits of the panel. Like that. It's just oversprayed a little bit on one of the sides but the other side pretty clean to the brace. I'm going to hit a bit in the corner where I've done. I want this bottom corner rusted out a bit. Where it's exposed to metal. And I want this quite rusty underneath, so I may as well do all this at once. That's quite a lot. but it's going to be quite rusty under there, so clean that out. I won't pour it back in the pot, I'm not bothered. Quick clean. Probably not going to go in with this rust, I don't think it really added too much to it. Disappointingly, I'm just going to skip that stage and go straight to the light rust. To be fair, I've probably not got many viewers at this point, so people might find this video down the line and just have it playing. Most will probably just skip it, but I don't know, we'll soon find out. Let's clear out a bit so we've got this lighter stuff coming through, just like that. A bit clogged up. Really not liking anything at the moment much. But this light rust on this dark rust on the Panzer range is actually really nice. Really nice to start you off with your rust. You could leave it pretty much like that, but if you want to take it to the next level, you keep going. Hit this corner. Like that. And underneath, got it all up like that. And pull that back into this pot. My airbrush is starting to smell because it's on for so long. So I might have to, this is probably overheating because it's only a cheap one. So I probably have to just turn that off a minute. I'm going to burn it out. You see how clayey that is there? That's the effect. So it actually has got a lot, but it's very fine. You see, that's what's clogged up my brush when this is dried. It's like a clay, but it's not as gritty as the Games Workshop one. I might dig that out at some point. Yeah, but that clay, when you just leave it like that, like I did then, that tissue was touching it, so it sucks some of the moisture out, but it's vicious stuff. So what should we do now? Let's go in with some of this wash. This is quite a nice wash. I'm going to be quite heavy with it. Just be gentle still there, because I don't want to scrape off any of that delicate airbrushing that's gone on there. See, that's gone in underneath there. It's really nice. Just along here. Ooh, getting camera. Just along here. It's a really good wash. So let's throw that in quite heavy on the inside. Just get it in everywhere. Finger brushed that off, I went a bit too much on that across that strap. Okay. My finger is like a bit of a sponge just to pull it back. Just hit these straps across the top, doing complete coverage really, and just in along the edges. And then quickly into this side. There's probably many better videos on how to do rust. I quite like to get the AK Interactive, the magazines and that they do, and research. But this is, I think, is going okay so far. I think we're winging it quite well. We're doing alright. Subconsciously though, I must have been waiting to get an Origami really flowing, because I've got always looking at rust products for some reason. I've got a thing about painting rust. Not that I've ever really done it much. This is my first big go at doing rust. Okay, leave that just to dry off a bit. But that's not bad so far. Let's get a bit of rust in on these stripes, a bit more precise though. Just to knock back that quite bright aluminium. I'm going to put a fair bit in there, let it pull up a bit, and we'll work it from there. Let's just get a bit of the effects in there as well. Mix it kind of slightly in with the ink, just a tiny bit. Didn't really shake it up so much, but that's quite bright orange at the moment. Let's just knock this back. We'll let that dry and then we'll work on those scratches, because I don't like it so far, but it's at a stage where we can keep going and working with that. Let's get some model mate on these straps across the top. Just do quite a heavy coverage. Quite dark, and we'll knock it back up with the dry brush. So we're going to go in underneath here as well, sort of not so heavy coverage though, just a bit more around the grooves and that. Oh no, what's my name? I've got a song in my head. This is going around. I need to have something playing in the background here. Let's have a look. Someone here called Mini Warzone. Looks like he's doing a death guard. I've never seen this guy. Let's watch him, see what he's about. I can't hear. Volume. There you go. Where's my model mate? So they're sort of working it up in there. So now I'm going to go up into here. He's another Brit. Lots of Brits do videos. Straight into an advert, that's a bit unlucky. Always skip adverts, do my head in. Skip. Up in there. Painting his poxwalkers and Nurgle and stuff. It's always good. I've got my poxwalkers to paint yet. I've been working on the Marines. I've still got quite a bit to go. I'm not too happy with this guy's cloak, but we'll work on that. Got like the blight drone finished up. Yeah, came out quite nice. Quite like him. Looking good. Going to be painting finish. I need to finish them up, but I've been distracted by this project. There's some streaks here now. Just with this modelled mate still. I'm going to be painting up my first box set, and I'm going to be selling it off, and then probably buy another box set and then keep the Nurgle and sell the Primaris Marines. Let's get some more model mates in there, because that does take away that bit of the shine that's still in there. I wonder how long this guy's video is. 55 minutes. I've gone to an hour and 5 minutes in a minute. Probably lost everybody in the first 10 minutes. So that's that. So now let's whack some dry brush. Seems like a nice guy. I'm going to subscribe. Sounds pretty cool. He's got 78. So 738 subscribers now. I've probably got none. There's probably no one watching this, no one listening to me. I'm just talking to myself, but that's okay. I don't mind. But if anybody out there wants to like spread me around a bit, I much appreciate it. You know, if you enjoy these videos, great. If you don't, just move on to someone else, watch someone else, it's fine. I'm just working at the desk. I've got to work on some videos that are going to be a bit shorter. Maybe on my review, do some more reviews, ones that make them shorter. Right, I think these top braces are pretty much dried. So let's just hit it with a bit of a gentle. I'm just going to go in gently to start with. I don't want to scratch anything off by being heavy-handed. So he's going in with his the Games Workshop Death Guard green colour. I didn't buy any of that. I just used a combination of different Vallejo colours. And this is kind of how my green came out. Just mixed different colours together. Just a work in progress, but I think that green came out quite nice. So then I winged it. I think I used a combination of pastel green from Model Colour. I think I used medium olive, I think it was. Again, Model Colour. And I used a bit of Death Flesh to get that kind of greeny pastel kind of colour. I think it's mainly the olive and the Death Flesh, and then just highlighted it up a little bit with the pastel green. But another reason for me doing these videos is so I've got a catalogue, so if I go away from a project and come back at it at a later date, I can go back and see what colour scheme and how the process, which is very handy. A bit of a heavier dry brush here now. Just going to hit these rough edges on this side and inside as well, and on this side. A bit heavier handed now. That. And then need to get in underneath. It's a bit still wet underneath there. Let's hit this corner. Yeah, Mini Warzone. If you get to watch my video, subscribe, mate. I subscribe to yours. That's only fair, isn't it? Surely that's how it works. Right, well, I'm not going to get up underneath because the model make ink is still there, but I'm just going to come down. That's scraped away some of the... Okay. Let's see, come out into natural light for that rust. Looks alright. Looks alright. I might now just hit it again with a bit more of a wash in some places. Just around. Just around the bolts and bits. And just to use it to streak off a little bit. Get those striping a bit again. These scratches, a bit all too bright and clean for my liking. Okay. I think he's got like a shed or something though. This guy. I wish I had a big shed. So there you go. And that. I was thinking of rusting up that cap there, but I might just leave that. Okay, so that's that. I might seal this. I turned my air compressor off, didn't I? Yeah, that's red hot. I'm not turning that back on. See what this looks like on the model. It's alright. If you watch previous videos, I had a bit of a droop off this arm, so I've stuck another magnet in there just to, so it's 3 magnets deep now, I think. What do you reckon? Alright, to start us off. Don't look too bad, I don't think. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to seal that, and then we're going to put the checkers on. So what I'll do is I'll stop the video here. It's been a long one. Not really achieved a great deal, but we've worked out the rust, so I guess we have achieved, because that's going to be a big part of this model. So we worked out our process for the rust, which will duplicate over a lot of it, particularly the metallics, which I need to highlight. There's a lot of highlight going on there. I'm going to go grab something to eat. I really appreciate it if you've lasted this long, for an hour and 12 minutes or 30 minutes so far. But please like, share, subscribe, do all of that. Just do something nice for me. I would really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one, where we'll get the hex down on that shoulder pad. Alright, thank you guys. Take care. It's LeanMachine-Painting out.